Folks, Andrew here of GoPro Wrestling reporting for Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson. New episode every Friday at noon. Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate your time. And first of all, congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
I appreciate it. You're connected to Conrad and Bruce.
Yes, yes, I am.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I love those guys. No, a lot of fun. And yeah, those guys, me and Bruce go way back. It was actually documented on the Jeff Jarrett episode of Something to Wrestle, shooting the vignettes. So yeah, me and Bruce and Tom, his brother. So we go back a long time. So.
And you just mentioned the vignettes quickly. Bruce was on location with you on a lot of those vignettes in Memphis. What was that like?
Get your town's geography
Nashville.
right. Nashville, yes. It is Nashville. No, yeah, it was funny. Over the last couple of months, I've had the opportunity to sort of reflect and reminisce back. But Bruce and the director was Kerwin. He came down, and we did 2 days of shooting. It was sort of running and gunning, and there was some things were... The ideas were thought through. The execution was going to be left up to us. And when I look back on it, and when I went to SmackDown right before Mania, we sort of reminisced and went to a couple of the different locations. And one thing, Nashville certainly changed, but back in those days when we shot those vignettes, it was a lot of fun. Obviously the business has evolved and gotten bigger and better and broader, but the evolution and the groundwork that the Double J character was laid in those vignettes was certainly something special.
Now, your topic on the Something to Wrestle with when Conrad and Bruce were covering it was one of the most downloaded in its 100-plus history. So, is there any rebuttal or anything that maybe you've heard? Or?
Oh, wow. Rebuttal. Yes, Conrad and Bruce. We'll talk about this. I know you don't have guests on the podcast, but there is a couple of items that they either purposely or maybe accidentally they just glossed right over. There's a couple of items in there that they left out, and so it's maybe not a rebuttal, but they left a few key items, a few facts out of the story. But no, it was is interesting, and I was flattered to hear that it was. I think it's still one of their top five. Of all their episodes. So, but at the end of the day, Bruce was there during that run, and so he knew firsthand knowledge of the vignettes and the character build and the Shawn Michaels matches and the. Was
that your favorite match? I'm sorry to cut, but they
just cut me off.
Yes, I'm sorry, but I just had to know. Was that your favorite match?
It's certainly, I reflected on it in my Hall of Fame speech. It's certainly right up there at the top of them. And as I look back on it today, it happened in '95, and I'm more and more appreciative of it today as obviously when it happened. So it was cool reconnecting with Shawn in New Orleans for the Hall of Fame and reminiscing a little bit. But that match is certainly one of my favorites.
It's very special. It happened in Nashville, no less. What was it like seeing Vince McMahon after all these years? And any story you could share from the Hall of Fame weekend?
It was cool. I mean, went out there and it was rehearsals the day of. And I wasn't expecting it. Didn't even know he was out there when I walked through the curtain to do the just sort of the mic checks and the simple basic rehearsal, not really rehearsing the speech or the song. And he was there, and so it was cool. We had a real special moment. It's private, but it was special.
I just noticed your Hall of Fame ring. If you don't mind, if you could show it to the camera, it's a great ring.
That's going to cost you. There we go.
Just another question. You were rumored, it was in press releases that you were going to wrestle Jinder Mahal at the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, I did. Press release.
There were rumors on the internet, and WWE apparently, I guess they released it, but then nothing happened of it. What do you know about that?
You never say never in this business.
So will we see Jeff Jarrett in the WWE ring again?
I just said you never say never.
Okay. Switching gears. The Andre the Giant documentary that was on HBO. I mean, Andre wrestled, I think, for your dad in the South. Do you have any memories of Andre?
Wow. Just Andre, I mean, obviously I was a young child, but those earliest memories of just hearing about it and when you could get a date on him and the special attraction. Back in those days, you as the regional promotions, they'd try to get dates just on the champion. Didn't know who the champion was going to be, but whoever the champion was. But Andre was, I want to get a date on him or a week on him or 3 or 4 days on him. He was a bigger attraction, quite frankly, than the touring world heavyweight champion. That's how special Andre was to the industry. And, a lot of people, obviously his most famous match was the Silverdome, the Mania 3. But when you look at a footage from Japan maybe or his early Canadian days, Andre's athletic ability is uncanny. And so sort of the roads that Andre paved without anybody really recognizing it, a box office attraction, his athletic ability, his sports entertainment flair before there was sports entertainment is special. And quite frankly, that's why to this day, 2018, a documentary comes out on HBO. It doesn't get any more mainstream than that. And that's pretty cool for our industry.
And you mentioned your father, legendary promoter, Jarrett. It was you had a in your eye at the speech, and it was great that your father was there. Now you mentioned that. Well, I don't know if you want to talk about that. Bruce and he reconnected. I guess if you Google chicken salad, I mean his name pops up right there at those feet. So what are your assessment?
Oh, it's all in fun. Like most everybody in this business, you have your ups and downs. It's a business. It's as Kevin Nash eloquently says, it's not show friends, it's show business. And so in a business, you're going to have agreements and disagreements and ups and downs, and personalities are going to mesh at times, and some personalities aren't going to mesh. I'll say that Bruce's personality and my dad's personality to this day probably don't mesh, but they're cordial, or more than cordial. It sort of touched my heart. I got a couple of texts during the Hall of Fame weekend. I was working quite a bit and away from all of it, but I got texts of my dad and Bruce together, and they got to catch up. And my dad got to see a lot of old friends, so that made me feel really good that he was, in that environment. And Jerry Briscoe and Bruce, and gosh, I could list a bunch of names, but I was happy to see him get the opportunity to reconnect with a lot of folks.
Well, on behalf of Something to Wrestle With and Go Pro Wrestling, we want to, congratulate you again on the Hall of Fame. And does this mean, I'm a mark for action figures? Will we see a Jeff Jarrett Elite action figure now?
Do you think I'm the decision maker to that?
Somebody watching it.
Would you like to see an action figure?
Yes, a couple different versions of it, with the long hair and with the short hair.
Well, so you can get a guitar. Maybe you can get a Slapnuts T-shirt on it.
I'm way ahead of you.
Oh,
I hope I win this raffle right here.
for the guitar.
This baby's going to come in the studio, the Go Pro Wrestling studio.
Did you say this baby?
With my
Oh, you just jumped on that, didn't you?
So why didn't Bruce sing along with you at the Hall of Fame?
Well, good question. Why are you asking me? I sang, Brian sang, my kids sang, Zack Ryder sang, Heath Slater sang. I could go all the way down the list. Why didn't Bruce just jump up and get right in there? You heard about the podcast duet the following day.
Okay, yes.
Did you hear about tore the house down? Tore the house down. It was a lot of fun. The day after the Hall of Fame, I went over and jumped in on the very end of their podcast.
Well, it's good to see you back in the fold with WWE. And is there any other future projects or things that are coming out?
I've got a spoken word tour coming up in the United Kingdom. That we just tickets went on sale just yesterday. So it's London, Edinburgh, Sheffield, and Cardiff. 4 days, and we're adding more dates. We're talking to some German promoters, but a spoken word tour, and then there's a lot going on these days. I'm pretty excited about what Conrad and Bruce have going on. Stardust.com. Do I get that plug in? Stardust.com? No. Starcast. Stardust. Starcast. Come on. Starcast.com.
Good save, Mike.
And Cody's going to be there. No, it's going to be fun. The industry. All kidding aside, it's the evolution of it's not the Monday Night Wars of the '90s, but the mainstream appeal and independent wrestling is I wish and there will be, and I'm kicking around a couple of different things. But independent wrestling for a while sort of had that stigma to it. Now it's out front, it's bold, it's progressive, it's very, very entertaining, and it's becoming mainstream. I know that may sound crazy, but when you look, not just here in the States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, all around the world, independent wrestling has really progressed, and it's something that I'm very, very excited about.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jarrett. Greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it.